name this morning. Don't remember. But good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Meta Cafe for your daily astrology, human design, and tarot energy report with Jason Livanis over there. Good morning, Jason. And here we are again, a Wednesday already. I can't even believe it. Where does the week go? And there's Roseanne this morning. Good morning, Roseanne, and good morning, Veronica. Excuse me, let me choke on my spit. So how's it going over there in New Jersey land? Are you guys still frozen over there?
Oh my God, yesterday, no coats. This is just zany. I mean, I don't know if anybody discusses the weather is zany, but it's just zany. I didn't have my coat on yesterday, and yet the day before, I had a full fur coat on, and I was like, it's a little cold. Janet, because I cannot see your comment screen because of how we're set up today. Oh, I can. Perfect.
I hadn't put up any comments yet.
No, I see. You're Mimi, you're exactly who I wanted to talk to. So that's creepy that the very first one came up with me. Mimi, I've been going through and trying to become a diligent one-man operation, and as Janet will attest, sometimes things slip through the cracks, and it's just a little overwhelming doing everything yourself. You had sent me, Mimi, a request to discuss further the art card for you that I had picked. I am so sorry I am delinquent in getting back to you, but as opposed to the other individuals that I generally answer via text, I would love to speak with you on the phone for being so patient. So, and Janet, I have no issue with you throwing my phone number up there, because we have a core of, how shall I say, our beloved regulars, and I consider us now a family, because it's been about 8 or 9 listeners that were all sort of in on it, and that's beautiful. So, Mimi, I'd love to
I don't know what your phone number is.
After how many, wow, that's fucking crazy. You know what?
All I say is call Jason Livanis, and Siri says, calling Jason Livanis.
Yes, Livanis. Yeah. I can appreciate that. So my telephone number is 201-863-0568. If you text me, just make sure you say, hey, it's Suzanne or it's Mimi from the Daily Energy Report at Meta Cafe. Just say Meta Cafe. I will text you back. I'm continuing to go through all of my other one-card pulls, even though this wasn't a one-card pull. I enjoy doing them. So just to remind everybody, of course, beautiful, to remind everybody that I still have a free one-card pull on my site. I don't have any specials for the new year as of the moment because I need to eat.
You can't eat your cards?
No. But, however, I just wanted to put that out there and to get before Janet launches into what I'm just sitting on pins and needles about. This evening, I'm very excited to present to you the 20 card, or is it? Dun, dun, dun. Is it the zero?
Well, I thought it was the 21.
No. It's the 0 card or the 20 card. So we talk about the number 2, and then we talk about the fact that it really has 2 zeros after it. Double infinity. Anywho, customarily, depending on what deck you look at or what has been transcended to us, there are lots of, in my opinion, errors. And so this card, I believe when I began, Janet, I looked back on the site and I could be vertutzt, which is Yiddish for turned around. But I believe my very first broadcast, besides this is me, this is the insanity, deal with my mouth, I'm slightly bipolar, depending on the day. But I believe my first card was the Magician and not, in fact, the 0 card. I don't know. I could be wrong. But regardless, I'm an older, wiser, more informed reader now. And what had happened was Janet and I have been fooling around with doing a course. And so one of the things that she asked me to do was a video based on a card and, or rather a first lesson on this card, and good enough for Mimi. And so I have already prepared for us all the 0 card, the Fool, or the 20 card, the Fool. Which is it? You'll have to tune in. And so that's what's going on tonight, 4 o'clock Janet's time, 7 o'clock my time. And much past that, I'm ready to give control back to you, the helm.
All righty. Well, this morning, let's just talk real quickly about what's going on. And then yesterday morning, I had talked about getting Jason's birthday chart up so that everyone could get an idea of what a solar return reading would be like. Now, certainly in this time frame, we don't have the time to do the entire reading, which I will do with Jason personally, but we can at least go through some of the highlights, the themes that are likely going to develop. And any of you that are out there that have birthdays right around January into early February, we have this stellium of planets, meaning just a lot of planets in a very small space in Capricorn. And that puts a lot of intensity in one, maybe two houses of your astrology chart and sets up the theme then for the year to be very much focused in that arena. And the houses, by the way, are where the action takes place. So when I say houses, it is where in your life XYZ planet is going to be playing for the short term. And the planets themselves tell us the what that it's going to happen. And the signs give us an idea of what the flavor is going to be of that planet and where it's going to happen. So everything sort of builds one on the other in astrology. So we're looking at three specific things. So before I bring Jason's chart up here, just let's say what's going on here today real quickly. The moon is now moved over into Scorpio, and it is coming ever closer to conjuncting the planet Jupiter and Mars, which are still pretty close. Mars has passed Jupiter at this point. You can see it in the sky at night, by the way. That is if you don't live in the Pacific Northwest where there's nothing but clouds in the sky. But if you go out, you could see Jupiter, and to the right and above it is the red planet Mars. And unless, of course, you live down under, and then it's probably something different. Anyway, so beautiful connection that we can make with this energy of growth and taking action. But in Scorpio, this is about following our passions and looking into the dark corners and seeing where it is that you may not be working in your own best interest, or where you have not really allowed your passions to play. And so the moon doesn't actually catch up to that today. It'll be later in the day and into tomorrow. So I would expect some interesting things to happen as we start moving into tomorrow and the rest of the week.
When does the stellium of this conflagration of planets in this house sort of move and dilute a bit? Because I am on...
That is messed up.
What?
Oh, nothing. Just my frustration with this. Because all you're seeing is this teeny tiny little chart, aren't you? Or can you see it big?
No, baby. Let me see what happens when I tap onto it. Tell all of your viewers to tap on it.
You just did. All of you viewers tap on it. I don't know if that'll work for them broadcasting. So let me...
Well, I can tell you that when I did it, it got large. And then if I hit the X button, it goes away. If I hit your face, yes, Jesus. So
I got a better idea. Let me bring your chart up solo. There. Now we should be able to see just your chart. Is that correct? Everybody, somebody out there tell me, can you see just Jason's chart? Type it into the comments. La, 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 la,
I believe, Janet, that in this sort of, what do you call it, platform, meant to be interactive. When I tap on your face, it gets bigger. So people can toggle back and forth, because when they hit the small... Okay, just so that you know, I didn't realize it was user-friendly until I just fucking did it. So, if you tap on the thing, you get to see it bigger. However...
I love it. That's awesome. Okay.
But Janet. But here's the problem. Unfortunately, it doesn't bleed to the edges of the phone. It gives you more, but it's real hard to see just going forward.
I just need you to be able to see the middle, the chart. Can you see your chart?
Hold on. Yes, I can see the middle of the chart.
Now, if I touch my screen, do you see my mouse moving around?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, again, technology fails me. It's all right, because I had this on my other screen on my desktop so that we could see it bigger and you could see where I had colored in certain things. So, well, we'll just deal with it. the first thing I want you to look at, the symbol for the sun in a chart is the circle with a circle in the middle of it. And you're going to see that up at about the 11 o'clock position of your chart, where you see a lot of symbols all kind of together there. And one of those is going to be the sun, and it happens to be very close to Pluto and very close to Venus.
Wow.
So do you see that?
I see to the left of the sun, which is the zero with a dot in it, I see another glimpse, which I'm guessing is Pluto.
Venus. Venus is to the left and Pluto to the right.
How far over to the right? Oh, yes, it's above, on the wheel above. Got it.
Yeah, we're looking on the outer wheel. So, now I'm off my game. Hold on. Let's go back a minute. So what I want you to look at is this is a bi-wheel. There's two big sets of information here that we're looking at. On the inner wheel, right through the middle, is the birth chart. So this is what a snapshot would be of what your chart was on the day that you were born. Then I take and I enter in your birth information for this year. And if you'll notice here in red up at the top left corner, you see where it tells you what your actual birthday is this year, January 12th, not the 13th. Yeah. And at, I can't read it. It says 1 something in the afternoon.
1:42 p.m.
1:42 p.m. And why is that? Right. Why is that happening? Well, the astrology or the stars move in their own time. They don't move according to our calendar. And in our calendar, we're always messing with it, right? We throw in an extra day for a leap year. And as soon as you do that, then that is going to push your birthday to a day earlier. And I think it was last year we actually had a leap day. And so everybody's birthdays are skewed by somewhat. Because your solar return, your birthday occurs at the moment the sun comes back to the same spot it was in when you were born. Not when the calendar says it's January 13th. So what we get then is a time difference. Every year, it's not going to come back at the same time that you were really born.
Right.
But it's important to know that, because for me, especially, I have always tuned in to the exact moment of my birthday. And the reason I do that is because I can then get an idea what's happening around me, who's in my life, what am I feeling, what symbolically is happening around me, because it all gives me cues as to what my year might be. And so for you, tuning in on Friday the 12th at 1:42 p.m. gives you that gateway, gives you that in. So the next thing we'll want to look at then is what house is the sun going to be in on your birthday? And that's in this outer wheel here. You'll see the houses line up a little differently.
Yeah.
The numbers are in the lower left-hand corner, and that tells you the house number. And your sun, Pluto, Venus conjunction on your birthday is in the 8th house of transformation. So the minute I looked at your chart, Jason, I was like, woohoo, he's up for some big changes this year, because the 8th house is all about sex, death, and rebirth. In other words, all of those very powerful transformational types of energies that take us to the brink sometimes of death, only to open a doorway to a rebirth.
What house is that?
Pardon me?
What house?
8th.
Got it.
The 8th house is always the house that we think of as death and rebirth.
Scorpio.
Now, it is also a house in the chart. It's a money house. And the money house in this case is about money that you're receiving from places other than what you earn. It is other people's money. I call it OPM. So if we're going to talk about it in the relationship to money, this is money that comes from credit, it's debt, it's loans, it's winnings from lotteries or from whatever.
Right.
And also we can look at it as inheritance sometimes, or money that comes to you from a spouse or from other people outside of you, not money that you necessarily earn yourself. So there does seem to be some, money coming in from out of the area of what you do for a living. So that might mean gifts. It could mean winnings. It could mean loans. It can mean lots of different things. I don't think this is so much money related for you in this year as it is really about changes. And the dynamic for the changes may be in the home, it may be in the way you work, it may be in fact, I really think it's going to be in the way you work, and this is why. If you look over here to the upper right side, let's see, that would be the 1 o'clock position. You'll see a symbol that looks like the moon, a crescent moon. By Jove, I think you've got it. Right here on this side, you'll see the moon, and just to the right of it, Jupiter and Mars. They're still going to be very close on your birthday. And
So
they're
I see the crescent. It's in the 9th house?
It is in the 6th house.
Shit.
It's affecting your 9th house. So here's an interesting thing. The 6th house is the house it's in on your birthday. So the theme is really about the work that you do. This is you guys have heard me say this before. This is the Virgo ruled house of the chart. And that means this is where you have to put the pedal to the metal. You actually have to get off your ass and do something, right? Yep. The 6th house puts us in a position of working, serving, of taking care of following the thread of our gifts and talents and actually doing work. So, in the 5th house, we have all this creative energy, but all that creative energy is exactly squat if you don't do something with it. It's like, Mimi would be able to resonate with this. It's that idea of having this great idea for this artistic expression, but you never get it out of your head and out into the real world. So here is an indication that in order to connect with what your soul's work is, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to actually take action in some way, shape, or form. And because it's connected to the 9th house of your birth chart, right? Remember, it's overlapped here a bit. So it's sitting over the 9th house in your birth chart. This is where you are expanding outward into the world. So you're going to have to do something to expand yourself. That would be the key words from both the moon and even Jupiter and Mars transiting through this part of your chart. And, to me, this is really good news, Jason, because the 6th house could also indicate health issues. I think you've come through those, and I think you're actually doing really well physically.
Yes.
So now it's time to take that physical stamina, that physical energy, and put it to something other than sex. You're actually going to have to do something with it in the outer world. Now, having said that, really that looks like you connecting with the public in a bigger way. The moon represents the public. Okay. And the public wants you. The public loves you. The public needs you. So you have to find a way to connect more and more with the public as you go through this particular year. Now, this is a snapshot of the day, but the themes last throughout the year. So am I saying that this is going to be a big thing every day of your life this year? No, but it is an overlying theme. And Jason, I'll email you your chart. You don't have to look at it through a magnifying glass, hopefully.
Oh, sorry, you can see me?
Yes, I can see you. I can see you. I don't know if the listeners can, so I may have just, ratted you out somehow.
You see me doing my monocle moment, huh? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that screen now, and I'm sorry, I'm going to take it out, period, so you guys just see me and Jason. So that gives you just, a glimpse, because that is only a small part of the entire solar return chart. As you can see, it's complex. There is a lot going on. There are a lot of planets and points we want to take a look at. And frankly, January this year, if your birthday is in January, you are, in some ways, your life is going to leave you breathless this year. You know how sometimes we have years where things are just going. This may be one of those years for you if your birthday's in January.
Don't you find that interesting that now my body is, like I said, I went for a run the other day. I'm starting to get to my weights. My body is getting to the point where it'll be able to support all of this activity that's going to be coming for me.
And that's a really good thing, right? Because over the course, you can't have your birthday in a month where there's all these planets all shoved up together and not know that this is a year where you have a lot of, and especially because it's Capricorn, you need to focus. You need to enact boundaries, right? You have to look at the structures of your life, what you've built thus far. And if it isn't working, you have to be willing to crash it down in order to rebuild.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You have to be able to look at the weaknesses and be willing to do something about it, because they should be fairly glaring to you right now.
Correct. I also want to bring something to everyone's attention. I would like to make sure that everyone out there understands that this is not entirely new information. Why, Jason? Because if you are smart enough to be a yearly solar return client of Janet Hickox's, Janet, yeah, why are you, okay, let me see, I'm not going to finish my sentence. Why are you nodding your head?
Because if you don't get any other readings throughout the year, your birthday reading is the very most important one.
Yeah, that's all nice. However, the point I was going to make is that if you are a yearly solar return client of Janet, Janet has a big heart. Some people like to call her a heel or a pushover or just, But the fact of the matter is that she always goes above and beyond. What do I mean? 2 years ago, I had a reading with her that was a solar return reading. She told me already about April, May of 2018. This was 2 years ago. When the year, like 2 or 3 years ago, when things started to go like, fuck, in my chart, Janet was like, look, not going to always be like this. This cycle is going to last you a bit. So just, batten down the hatches. But, so I have been really waiting. It's been almost 1.5 years, 2 years now. I've been waiting for this sort of April period because I believe this whole thing of being in the public eye is going to happen more. It's when television pilots come on. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that I'm thinking about. But my point here is that I was pre-warned. I hate to use that word. Warned sounds dun dun dun. I was advised as to how these cycles were going to play out.
Yeah.
And so having a solar return reading with Janet now is going to give you the constellation of stuff you're living with for the next year. But it's also, if there are tricky points, especially, Janet's also going to tell you what the long-term conversation is on that, so that the immediate term is not a hysterical, like, oh my God, this is happening, now what? So did I express that correctly?
I think you did good. I think, what we were doing last year was your solar return. And what we were looking at is the fact that you were closing in on age 50, which is going to be the Chiron return in your chart between 50 and 52. And you just happen to have started your Chiron return. I think there's something about around the people born in 1968-ish that their their Chiron return is coming a little bit earlier. So you were really in your Chiron return last year. And so the dates that you're talking about are the dates where by the time you would get to April of this year, you would be done with this Chiron return thing, which is earlier than, like for me, when I went through it, it was at age 51. So some of you out there who are age 48 to 50 right now are probably getting ready or are in the throes of your Chiron return. And that is huge because there's often a very exaggeration perhaps of your wound, your core wound. And it's like in your face and you can't like look around it anymore. You have to deal with it. It's in your face and you have to deal with it. And did you fall?
I fell. I fall.
You hurt your head. Good morning, Petra. It's nice to see you out there. So definitely a solar return can give us some clues as to what's happening. The other thing that's really huge, I think, for 2018 is that there's a lot of crazy energy out there. We have major eclipses coming. I mean, we did not even like ease into 2018. We just went, all out right from the end of December. Exactly. I didn't want to say that, but that's exactly what happened. And I don't think we get a break until perhaps maybe in the summer of these things that are happening one after another, from, eclipses to Mercury retrogrades. I don't think we get a break in 2018, honestly, because we've got Chiron changing signs, then we have Uranus changing signs, and then we have more eclipses, then we have Venus going retrograde, then we have Mars going retrograde. And I think I just said that backwards. It's Mars first, then Venus. Lots going on. So in our charts, there's a lot of flux, a lot of opportunities. And a lot of the themes that we're experiencing now are the things that we'll have to build on throughout the year, or maybe even the things that we're going to have to learn to release as we move through this year. So 2018, as wonderful as I was hoping it would be, has already started out in a way that is highly energetic. I'm gonna rose coat it because it's highly energetic. And it may, I always tell people, all of this is about how you perceive it as well.
Well,
So,
that's my nice little good witch take on it. I'm going to go so far as to take the bad warlock stance and say, folks, it is highly volatile, highly charged, highly volatile. Think about the fucking match to the dynamite stick. I already had some stuff go on this morning. Yesterday, Janet got on the horn on here, and she's like, "So how are you, Jason?" As if to say, "Tell me what fucked up things are happening for you." And I was pretty zen yesterday, and I avoided some really low-level vibrational shit this morning by again catching myself. I got emotionally hijacked. Catch myself. Get in touch with the Wheel of Fortune card, the observation. Get in touch. I rang my bowls. I played with my bowls.
That's the song I was going to sing. Instead of you can ring my bell, I was going to sing, you can ring my bowls.
So, not to be misconstrued with ringing my, anyway. So,
you froze.
Yeah, I know. Somebody tried to call.
Okay. Now you're moving again.
But today, given that the information given me, and it seemed to be that I was working on it in my meditation, is sometimes, Janet, you know how you look at only specific parts of the wheel or sections to get information? Well, us cartomancers, that's right, folks, it's called cartomancy.
75-cent word.
Cartomancy, the ancient art of divining cards. I like to just use the major arcana sometimes. It is so fraught with information. And it seems like we have major stuff happening. So I decided to consult the major arcana this morning for our card instead.
Good idea.
I'm going to get out of your screen so I can see that I'm seeing things. Okay. And so...
Oh, it's titillating.
It's a man-on-man action.
Ooh, it's the gay card.
It's the male lover's card.
Maybe, some people are new here, so maybe explain that in your deck there's more than one lover's card.
Yeah, in the sixth card, which is called the lover's card, which is completely named improperly. It lost its correct meaning as it got handed down through the centuries. However, in my deck, instead of having one card for number 6, I have trace. Man-on-man action, girl-on-girl action, and man-on-girl action. This doesn't necessarily denote a homo or heterosexuality, since we all know that we're all androgynous, the soul anyway. That being said, when we see the male lovers, we talk about a paternal love, a fraternal love. We talk about, sometimes I will get this card for a woman who's married and she's wearing the fucking pants. She's emasculated her husband, and it's like, oh no, he might as well have dated a dude. But the card for the day is a card that says, because the original name of the card was the Parting of the Ways. An individual stands at a focal point at the top of the card in the old decks, the Etienne and Marseille deck, for this way and that way, and you're at the precipice. This card is asking us to sincerely, it's the only time in the deck that it asks us to go within and be honest with yourself, with what it is you think you need to do. Because if you go to the right and you think you're taking one course, but you're doing the Wheel of Fortune bullshit. You're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You're going to go down that lane, and then you're going to get catapulted back to stage one because it wasn't the best route for you. This card indicates that it isn't one of these, oh, change your destiny and just go down a different route. No. This card says, we are here to remind you that before you came down, we were going to give you benchmarks, road signs, déjà vus to let you know you're on your path. You decided you needed to learn X, Y, and Z. That's the purpose of inhabiting this vessel for this lifetime. Can you change things up? Yes, but you got to hit your emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual markers. It's at that point that you can go off into a different direction. Make sense?
Yep.
So
yep.
If you choose the other side, that might be the right thing for you, for instance, then you're on your path. This card says to you, don't do the same thing over and over. This card says to you, really weigh out what it is you're doing, how it is that you're living in your life, and decide to take a path that is truly within your design, that is within your soul's speak. That's
I love it.
And I'm sticking to it.
Now, Jason, was that a card just for today, or was that a card you were drawing for you for the year, or
card for today?
For today.
It's in complete alignment with what you said early on about what was happening. So I figure, really nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Are there any questions today on the board for you, or anything in particular?
No, I don't see any questions. Does anybody have questions? If you do, type them in, because
I'm done then.
Psychic as I am some mornings. Two things have happened this morning that I was really intuitively aligned with. I'm sitting in my mirror putting on mascara because I hate that. And I'm putting on mascara, and all of a sudden this friend of mine pops into my head, and I realize, oh, I needed to let her know the result of this call I was on yesterday. And I swear to you, my phone sitting right next to me rang with an email from her and asking me exactly that. What happened on the call yesterday? I was like, whoa, that's weird. And there was something between you and me this morning that happened too. And I'm like, whoa, that's weird. So I think our spidey senses are probably a little bit enhanced right now with all these planets in one place. So don't be afraid to pay attention to your intuition and your instincts right now, because we're very much grounded in the moment, right? So for once, right, with a lot of earth energy, a lot of Capricorn energy, we're very much grounded. And sometimes that is better for us to be able to bring in spirit and to be able to hear, what's going on within. So we're not as flighty. When there's a lot of planets, for example, in air signs, our intellect is in the way, and sometimes our minds are going so crazy. But Capricorn energy has a very grounding effect. So put your feet on the ground and let your spirit come into the body and inform you of what it is that you need to do, what actions you need to take, what direction you need to go, etc., etc. So I have nothing else for everybody this morning. Have a great day. Jason, you and I will be talking in a little bit and getting ready for his show tonight at 7 o'clock East Coast time and 4 o'clock my time. And I hope everybody has a great day. Jason, you too. I love what's this? Is that you pretending to have a cigarette so that you can not smoke?
No, it's weird when you have facial hair. I mean, unless you're my aunt, you won't understand. But when you have facial hair, you'll get that in a second. You tend to play with it. It's like a thing. It's weird. It's like girls that play with their hair. It's like, and then you touch it and you're like, oh, this looks like I'm making anyway. So, anyway, have a great day, and I will see you on, I guess, Zoom. Is that correct?
I'll see you on Zoom in a few minutes.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Have a stellar day.